Let me say something that might get me killed in the comments. I like the Marauder in Doom Eternal.
I will not accept that. Will you?
Not ironically, not in a get good way, I genuinely think he's one of the most interesting enemies id Software has ever designed. And before you unsubscribe, I also understand why people absolutely hate him, especially on their first playthrough, because the Marauder isn't a bad enemy, he's just dropped into the game like a Dark Souls boss with absolutely no instructions. The Marauder has a reputation. People call him unfair, anti-fun, and anti-Doom. And on the surface, yeah, that reaction makes sense. Doom Eternal spends hours teaching you to be hyper-aggressive, constantly moving, overwhelming demons with speed and firepower, and then suddenly this guy shows up and blocks everything, punishes spam, and deletes you for doing what the game just rewarded you for doing. To understand the Marauder, you have to understand what Doom Eternal actually is. Doom Eternal is not Doom 2016. Doom 2016 was a pure power fantasy. Push forward, shoot demon, brain happy. Eternal is different. It's about constant movement, weapon switching, resource management, and decision making under pressure. Or, in simpler terms, the game wants you thinking, what tool do I need right now? Not, what gun do I emotionally identify with? And here's the important part. Doom Eternal is actually very good at teaching you how to fight its enemies. Cacodemon, big mouth, grenade goes in, boom, lesson learned. Pinky, armored front, squishy back, spatial awareness test. Arachnotron, shoot the turret, suddenly it's manageable. Almost every enemy has a clear visual weakness, an obvious counter, or a tutorial pop-up screaming at you what to do. The game speaks a very clear combat language. And then the Marauder shows up and speaks a completely different dialect. The Marauder is not the best at explaining himself. Whilst his main weak point is when his eyes glow green, the game does not make it explicitly clear that's his only weak point, and you can only damage him when he rushes at you and his eyes glow green. The game also does not tell you that you can damage him from behind using grenades and manually detonated rocket launcher shots from behind, but like in Dark Souls, you have to figure it out for yourself. The Marauder demands precise spacing, patience, timing, controlled aggression, and weapon switching on reaction. If you panic, you die. If you spam, you die. If you stand still, you really die. That's why he feels so alien. He's not a crowd control enemy, he's a duelist in a game about managing chaos. And honestly, he feels less like a Doom enemy and more like a Dark Souls boss who accidentally wandered into hell. You're expected to observe patterns, learn timing, fail a few times, then execute cleanly. And Doom Eternal never told you that was going to happen. But here's why I like him. The Marauder is Doom Eternal's final exam. He forces you to use movement, weapon switching, timing, and discipline. You can't brute force him, you can't out DPS him. You have to understand him. And once you do, something clicks. He stops being frustrating and starts being satisfying. It also helps that whilst the Marauder can keep up with you in terms of speed and defense, health-wise, it's tied for the lowest among all the mini-bosses in the game, which can help balance how strong he can feel. So no, I don't think the Marauder is a bad enemy. I think he's a poorly introduced one. Dropped into a game that usually explains everything clearly, he suddenly asks you to figure things out on your own. That's why first playthroughs feel awful, and second playthroughs?
Don't worry, Leela. Soon we'll be able to look back on this and laugh.
The Marauder isn't anti-Doom, he's pure Doom Eternal. He just showed up without a translator. This is Zach, not Zach, signing off. Please remember to like, favorite, comment, and subscribe.